Welcome to Advocate Today. I'm Aaron Dean. A federal judge in Georgia is restoring a law that bans gender-affirming care for minors. The judge reversed his decision 2 weeks ago to temporarily block a provision of the law from taking effect. The law prohibits patients under 18 from receiving cross-sex hormone therapy. Gender-affirming care for transgender youth has emerged as a key issue for conservatives, at least 20 states having limited components of the care in recent years. The controversial Texas Attorney General and opponent to LGBTQ rights is facing an impeachment trial for abusing his power to help donors. Attorney General Ken Paxton pled not guilty to the articles of impeachment against him. He has been suspended from his duties since the Republican-led Texas House impeached him in May. Paxton is also under indictment on security fraud, and he's also under federal investigation after former staffers accused him of taking bribes and abusing his office. It was his request for more than $3 million in state funds for a settlement with those whistleblowers that prompted his impeachment. Paxton has been a key player in steering Texas to the right politically in recent years, and he's called LGBTQ plus people and allies predators. Well, 4 million people have signed up for President Biden's new student loan plan. The saving on a valuable education is promising to lower monthly bills. Student loan payments are set to resume in October after the pandemic-related pause. The majority of people who already enrolled in SAVE were previously enrolled in a different repayment plan. Interest begins accruing on federal student loans on September 1st for the first time since March 2020. The NFL's first active out NFL player Carl Nassib is retiring from football. Nassib played 7 seasons in the NFL with the Browns, Raiders, and the Buccaneers. He became the first out active player in 2021. Nassib says that picking now to retire is a bittersweet moment. In a social media post, he called himself the luckiest guy on the planet to be able to live out his dreams in the NFL. Nassib says that he will focus on his company and other philanthropic efforts. Well, Texas is hosting a new LGBTQ plus event for brands, entertainers, and LGBTQ plus professionals. It's called Unleashed LGBTQ plus. It's a 3-day event in Dallas where you can network with professionals and see performances from the biggest names in LGBTQ plus culture. Nascar driver Herrin doesn't get phased while driving 200 miles an hour. He's an out gay man and is one of several LGBTQ plus figures that will be at Unleashed LGBTQ plus. And the Advocate Channel's Stephen Walker talked with Herrin about being behind the wheel of this groundbreaking conference.
Thank you for joining me today, Zach.
Yeah, no, likewise. Thanks so much for having me. I don't, really get to talk to LGBTQ plus media too often, so it's a really special treat for me. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
What is the idea behind Unleashed LGBTQ plus and the goals behind it?
Special guest joining me, but what I'm looking forward to mostly is going back to what I had just mentioned. I don't get to have the opportunity to work with a lot of LGBTQ plus media outlets or events. A lot of my stuff is specifically around motorsports. So it's such an amazing opportunity for me to talk with peers and allies within our community.
Well, speaking of the other speakers, are there any Unleashed LGBTQ plus lineup that you're really excited to connect with?
Oh yeah, I'm a big Post star, so I'm really excited to meet India Moore. I just also had the opportunity recently to meet Billy Porter, so I'm like, oh, I'm going through the cast here. This is really amazing. So, and Anthony as well. Queer Eye is just, it's Queer Eye. I think there's a great array of talent of what's going to be featured at Unleashed. So it's going to be really unique to hear so many different backgrounds and stories. And I think a lot of stories that most people don't know about specifically us. So really looking forward to sharing more specifically there in person.
Okay, now, can you tell us about your professional stock car driver journey and what led you to compete in NASCAR's ARCA series?
Yeah, so motorsports has been a part of my entire life. Where I really was starting to struggle is when I started racing professionally at 16, I quickly realized it was a job for me. But up until that point, my life had been so fast forward. So focusing on me and my personality, my mental health was never an option for me. And as I started to, engage with that side of my personality more, I always knew that I was gay, just didn't, again, know how to kind of tap into that. is when I was really starting to struggle with my mental health. And not being 150% focused in the world of motorsports is extremely dangerous, specifically at this level. So it ultimately led me to kind of walk away from things, give up the ultimate sacrifice, a dream that I had worked so hard towards, which was really hard. But to be back here, living as my true authentic self, not only in a way paving a way for others, but ensuring that I'm not going to be the last one. That's what's really important for me now in this rebirth of my career. I want to ensure that there's opportunities for everyone, no matter their background or what makes them different. It's a big world, and specifically about our sport is people are what makes our sport so amazing. So if we can have more people representation, it's just going to continue growing into a bigger and exciting direction.
And you mentioned there, like, ultimately coming out led you to walk away from everything you've been working towards. And how does it feel to be back doing what you love? It must feel great.
Yeah, there's a huge weight lifted off of me, a big sigh of relief. At first, it was selfishly, it was for me and my reasonings why I wanted to be back out there on the track. It's just, again, it's all I've ever known. But now, I'm slowly getting to meet people who've always been involved in the industry, or they work in the industry, or they've been fans of the sport, who are not out, or some of them may be out in the struggles that they faced at the track. So knowing that I now have this opportunity to help create change, to make the sport a more inclusive and welcoming sport for all, it's making me realize that there's a lot that can be done, and we need to figure out how to work together to achieve that.
How do you envision that? I mean, you just mentioned it, but how do you envision NASCAR creating a more inclusive and welcoming environment for marginalized communities? What can be done?
Well, firstly, I think NASCAR, although there's a lot that can be done for any sports organization, but NASCAR has been making strides to make it a more inclusive space. They donate throughout the year to various pride organizations across the country and charities. They host events internally and externally, but media tends to take the sport of NASCAR to really kind of paint it towards one side and what it should be, and this is what you should expect while going to race. And there could be a lot of negativity around it, but there's a lot of positivity. So I think if we can continue, pushing those efforts and putting them more at the forefront as to what NASCAR is doing to make it a better place versus what they've done in the past, I think is where we're going to see the sport shine. And then having someone like me, I'm really proud to help drive the sport into new directions, bring new brands to the sport. Overall, just continue building the sport, because it's a really great one, and it's it's America's biggest sport from February through September until football season kicks in. So it's got big roots here in America, and it needs to catch up to 2023.
And talking of partnerships, what inspired you to partner with Lombard Legal for the 2023 season opener in Daytona?
So, for me, it was really important to build that partnership with Lambda Legal, because I saw a big lack of LGBTQ plus athletes taking a stance on what's going on right now, not only in the state of Florida, but it's also being repeated across the country. And to have our season starting there in Daytona, Florida, have Lambda Legal on board, and have a rainbow car flying around the track, it was a wild moment. And it was a moment, I think, in motorsports history where we said queer people are existing in all parts of everyday life, but specifically in professional sports. So here we are, continuing to push the conversations and to create more opportunities for others who are, aligned like myself and want to get involved in the sport.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I really have loved getting to know you and reading up on you. So well done, and keep up the good work, sir.
Well, thank you so much, Stephen. I really appreciate the kind words, and just getting to chat with you. It was fun.
Again, Unleashed LGBTQ Plus is happening this September 22nd through the 24th at the world-famous Gillies in Dallas, Texas. Tickets are available at unleashedlgbtq.com. Out Magazine, The Advocate, and Equal Pride are proud sponsors of this event. And thanks again for joining us for Advocate today. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to stream us live, and you can even subscribe on our YouTube channel. For the Advocate channel, I'm Herrin.